But I think it is fitting to jump straight into something like that. It's 2024. You didn't really do an official retirement from racing because you could see you were weaning yourself off. Like, I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
Scott obviously wanted you to be at the World Cups. But you've always been a guy that kind of lives to the beat of your own drum. You know, I was always like, maybe you should focus a bit more on this. And you just, you know, you'd be like, yeah, it's definitely a good idea. But you just itch to do something else, the free ride, all that. To me, if you do it correctly and you enjoy it, you're sort of taking the power back into your own hands and having your own asset. Like, YouTube is like, okay, well, if Scott doesn't want to do a project or it's not going to fit in, you can do it on your own channel if it's something you want to do, and the power sits with you then. Like someone like Sam Pilgrim kind of can live just off YouTube, it seems, if he needs to or wants to. And so if someone says go do this, he almost could say, I don't feel like it, I'll just do this.
Well, why I stopped doing World Cups is just purely because I wasn't having as much fun doing it anymore. I also felt like I really wasn't bringing value to almost anyone at the end. I felt like I was, you know, not doing a job. I was going there seemingly unprepared compared to any other athlete on the circuit, not having putting time into downhill runs, the training I should have been doing, because obviously I've been filming this insane movie for the last 2 years, so all my time and effort and any spare time goes into, if not sitting on a digger building a section, then it's sitting on emails or my phone organising a section, organising athletes, filmers, photographers, hotels, flights, excess baggage, blah de blah, getting bikes custom painted, this and the other. So I just wasn't spending time with the training and stuff, therefore going to races unprepared. Still having the mindset of when I was decent at races and I could have an average run and get a top 20 or whatever. I was having quite good runs. When I mean a good run, I mean like stayed on my bike, had a few sketchy moments, which would mean back in the day that I was attacking, getting away with a few stuff, and I'd come home and I'd come to the finish and I'd be not qualifying.
How hard was that? Because I tried to sort of put it into perspective for you, but I don't think words help. Like you internally expect to be a certain level because your riding skill is that, but you couldn't prepare the way you should. And I will keep telling you, Brendan, you have to change these expectations. But you're not a racer that wants to get 40th or 50th. And that's totally fine because you were a podium contender, win guy.
I mean, a long time ago. But yeah, but because it's kind of happened quite gradually. Like I was not a top 20 guy for the last 3-4 years. I mean, 2019, I had a 6th. A little bit of an anomaly. I had a really good run and things worked well and this, that and the other. And that was a really cool, nice result. I should have just sacked it off then. But why I kept going is what I was talking to people about is then we had obviously COVID and all that sort of boring stuff, is I still had drive to, at the time, like 2-3 years ago, I still had drive to train. I was going to the gym with Ollie, I was riding. I wasn't doing any training on the downhill bike because it's hard to do where we live. But and then we like pulled the pin on this movie, and then from then it went downhill, pardon the pun.
Pun intended.
Yeah, just the motivation and want to go as fast as I can down the hill to hopefully get a top 20 or top 10. Top 10's, unrealistic at that point, but it was just not there anymore. And my focus and 100% of my attention was on making the best mountain bike movie that I could possibly make. So that's where things shifted, and in that time also we had another little baby, and things just changed, and I just lost the love for World Cup racing.
Did the sport progress as well during this thing? Like, to me, it was a catalyst of like not being able to prepare, more people preparing, more depth in the field, more people with skill like you used to have. Like, you could get away on skill, and you were people didn't see your work ethic, but I was here at the house dragging you on some rides, and there was years we spoke about where you out sprinted me at a road race. Like, you were doing the intervals, we were doing the work in between. Do you think the sport also just progressed past?
To say that the sport has progressed since we were back in the day, because it's just different. Like it's not progress. It's not people aren't all of a sudden. I don't think the top speed is any faster. I just think there's more, like you said, more depth.
More depth.
Yeah,
more
yeah.
professional and more people able
Yeah.
to go that
Yeah,
fast.
yeah. But it's all relative to the time that you've lived through the sport. Like it's not like, I mean, if we were in here, if we were in our mid-20s,
Have they time capsuled us?
Yeah.
From being 25
to here now.
to here.
I
You
don't
think we
we'd
could
be
compete?
Yeah, of course we could. It's just that with how I think like it has obviously changed, but it's progressed gradually and in as it should, more professional way. Like kids are now in junior that have, when they're 14, they have a 12 grand downhill bike with full suspension and they have trainers and nutritionists, and as it 100% should be at the top end of any sport. But that's only just come in the last 5 years of these kids that have grown up with pump tracks and bike parks and downhill bikes, or like a bit longer than that.
More access to runs and riding, whereas in the past, access was at little races.
100%. We
Access
didn't
was
have
like
bike parks when
pushing
we
up
were-
little
Yeah.
Surrey Hill trails.
Yeah, so it's just like you grow, and if we came up through now, we'd have had that opportunity as well, and we'd have that. So we'd be hopefully the same in the driving range to get on the podium. But yeah, I mean, I've got zero regrets. I watch a race now and think, thank F, I'm not doing it.
Likewise.
Yeah, I've got so much respect for those guys. I see incredible athletes having incredible runs and getting smoked.
And you know how depressing that is.
Yeah,
it's tough when you've put the work in, and
100%.
it's just so much depth. Like a little off your game is 23rd, and
Yeah.
back in the day it was 11th. You know,
Yeah.
11th still. Your beer tastes pretty good after a race, even
Yeah.
with 11th in the
So
world.
there's
You know,
no regret. I've got the T-shirt, done it, had 8 World Cup podiums in my career, which at the time a few years ago I wanted to get 10, which would be a nice little round off. It's completely unachievable.
and not having a win with your talent
Honestly,
and some of those runs you put together, like Schladming, like
yeah,
I guess maybe being a father helps with
doesn't-
like what's the difference.
doesn't keep me up at night. I think honestly, if I'd had 1, 2, let's say I've had 5 wins, I'd still be in the same. I'd still be sitting here in the same position. I really think that. I think I don't
I
think it
agree.
would have changed anything at all. So I don't dwell on some of the crashes I've had or some of the training sessions that I've missed and think, shit, I should have done that because I'd have won a race, which maybe I should, but I don't, and I don't think I'd be in any different position. So there is honestly no regrets.
I've said that to people, whether I retired at 32 or 35 or whatever, and yeah, the results, maybe people think it's an excuse, but I think if you're able to put things in perspective, if we're 50 and I get to come catch up here,
Yeah.
right? We make a deal now. There's no ways we care about the results. We just go, how's the family? You know, what sort of human are you? And it takes a lot of experience and sort of growing older, I think, to feel that way. If we were here at 23, we'd be like, fuck. Of course I want to still win. Of course that means so much to me, you know?
Yeah,
and I think when you lose that spark, that drive, that ego, it's like, you know, maybe it is time not to race.
I think that like one single win at a World Cup, it's cool, but it's like, unless you've done it with no chain or no brakes, or you win by 7-8 seconds in the wet when everyone else is crashing, you know, one of these really cool wins like that, it just gets a bit forgotten about, and
well, Warner still brings his up, 96.
Brilliant, yeah. Let's keep regurgitating it, but no, honestly, to answer the question, no regrets. Really content with leaving where I did. Probably should have left a year earlier than I did, but I just wanted. But my sponsors still felt I had value there. Just being there, and I was doing some YouTube videos up on and around the races, and and Scott wanted me to actually do excuse me, even this year they asked if I could do a few World Cup races, and I just said, guys, it's not going to work. I'm going to be spending the whole year guilty for not doing the training or the work towards them. I'm going to go to these races and get smoked again, doing even less specific training for the race, and I'm not going to bring any value to it. So I really wanted to not go back, but there is talk of me helping out building a new downhill track next year that might be on the calendar next year. So
and would you then
maybe I'll come back for his cheeky
go and try
one,
quali or race or something?
Yeah. I don't know. The thing is, when I like, in inverted commas, retired, I didn't tell anyone.
I was going to say, you didn't even do a post.
No, I didn't tell anyone.
What's that all about?
Because I wasn't going out on the top. I didn't want to make T-shirts with Brendan's last World Cup on. I just invited Hannah and the 2 kids over.
Were
to
you
Leger.
worried you wouldn't qualify at the last race?
No, I was pretty sure that it was going to be tough to qualify.
Yeah, but hang on. Let me give you some credit. I don't always like blowing smoke up your ass, but half the reason he retired or had to is this bad boy. I don't know which camera to look at. We're factory. We've got 2 cameras here. There's one probably. You hold this thing. You should be proud of that. So that is DEATHGRIP 2, the book, the coffee table book.
Yeah.
That is why you didn't get to prepare for World Cups. That clearly is a passion.
No, this is what I feel like how I can bring value back. You know, it's like, but back to retirement. I just did it quietly. I told my sponsors of what I wanted to do. Invited Hannah and the kids out, and we had a nice time in.
Which
Leger.
one was it? Leger,
yeah.
And that's a fitting one with Morzine where you grew up.
It was nice,
and you might have met.
And the reason why I also
Hannah
didn't want
there.
to do a hard retirement is because I might come back and race another one. And I'm not going to be coming back to win another one, but just to be at another one. But by the sound of how things are going next year in the World Cup, and I really haven't, I've just heard Chinese whispers and rumours. Maybe it might be hard for me to come back next year and do it. I think you have to be 100 UCI points. I don't know, loads of other crap. But I didn't care. I've had a good enough time. I didn't need any hoo-ha about it. So yeah, it's good.